All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. This is episode number 3, where now we're going to do a very simple, very basic intro. That's the intro. All right, anyways. No, something that has been crossing my mind a lot lately is like questions that I ask myself. And I was like, maybe I could make a podcast that says, okay, what is it that I ask myself? And maybe you guys ask the same thing of yourself and then give you my perspective of what it is that I tell myself. Now, the reason why I want to do this is because I enjoy my perspective of things. However, it doesn't mean that my perspective is always right. That's something that I'm genuinely aware of when it comes to the difference between each person. Everybody has their own way of doing things. That's one of the biggest things I actually don't enjoy about podcasts is depending on the host. The host is always like, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. This is what you should do. But that's what they did. So of course they're going to tell you that this is what you should do because that worked for them. And then sometimes I'm like, well, maybe that's not what works for me. I don't enjoy, or I don't think the same way, and I don't want the same thing. So I'm very aware that the things that I'm going to talk about and things that I'm going to say are in my lens, in my eyes, and kind of my solutions. So it's kind of like a get to know me again, but at the same time, maybe there's something that I could point out to help if there's something that in your life that you're going through that you can't seem to solve. The biggest question I ask myself or like the number one question I have been asking myself very recently is, what am I doing or what am I not doing that I should be doing to get to where I want to be? It's a combination of what am I doing and what am I not doing. So what am I doing? What's preventing me from taking that next step? And then what am I not doing? So what should I be doing to take that next step? So putting something down to pick something up, right? So what am I doing to prevent me from getting that next step? My personal opinion, and not personal opinion, my personal experience that I've been going through right now is all like mental. I think there's a lot of mental barriers and breakthroughs that I'm going through. And now don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying as in like, ooh, I'm a bitch. I'm saying I would actually argue that I'm so, I don't know if unempathetic is the word, or I'm so like non-empathetic, especially towards myself. I'm not empathetic towards others either. That's like one of my big issues I got to work on, especially being in a marriage, right? Doesn't help to not be empathetic. However, one of the biggest things that I have to work on within myself is being empathetic towards myself. If I'm working 8-hour day, going to the gym for 2 hours, I come home, I cook, I clean, let the dogs out, I hang out with my wife, I read, and at the end of the day, I should feel accomplished in that day. And that's the negative side to me, is where even that's not enough. I didn't do something that day because I'm not where I want to be. But I have to learn that patience to say, okay, after repetitive days adding up of reading consistently, going to the gym consistently. I look like this because I've gone to the gym for almost 4.5 years. And now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like I look like this, like, oh my God, I'm so good or whatever the fuck. It's more so of like a good example of being consistent is easily depicted off of physicality, right? Or like your physical, like what you see physically in someone. Because if you see in someone that they're physically taking care of themselves, you just know that they're they're either eating right, or they're going to the gym, or they're working out, or something. They have some type of discipline in that world. So it's the same thing with your brain. The more you read, or the more consistent you read with your brain, the more like it's almost like you're growing your brain. You're growing that muscle in your, like, if your brain is a muscle, it's like you're developing your brain consistently, right? So that's where I have to learn right now my patience to allow myself to just keep stacking day after day after day, make those good days add up to have a good year type of thing. I don't know if y'all hear that or not. Like I watch a lot of podcasts and it's like a good minute can create a good hour can create a good day, enough good days can create enough good weeks can create enough months, good enough months can create a good year, right? And that's like what I'm going through right now is being empathetic, being like, and it maybe not empathetic either, but it's also like, am I giving myself credit? Am I allowing myself the ability to be happy with who I am and what I'm doing, right? And that's hard because at the end of the day, am I achieving what it is that I want to achieve? And I think if you were to ask me personally, I'm going to say yes. And I would say yes right now, but not at all times am I thinking about this level of thought behind it. So what that means is like throughout my day, am I really giving myself this credit, this ability, and believing in myself at all times, knowing that I'm going to accomplish what it is that I want? Or am I going about it saying, I don't know if I'm going to accomplish it, and going about it in a way that like I'm almost stressing about it so much that I force myself through it. That's how my brain works. Is like I talk negatively to myself a lot, and where that can lead me in the wrong road or like down the wrong path, it gets exhausting to always say that like I'm not good enough, or I'm not going to pass, or I'm going to fail. And I constantly keep myself in that world. But for some reason, for me, that's what pushes me to the next level. So now that's kind of what I'm working on, is having the ability, or not having the ability, is now rewiring my brain to be like, you are doing what you need to do. Just allow the time to come, because when the time comes, that's when it's your time. But it's not like allowing time to pass. It's being consistent and being disciplined. And over time, if you just keep that consistency and that discipline, you will get what it is that you're looking for. But in today's society, it's hard because you just go on social media and you see, that's a big issue that I have, is comparing myself, especially on social media. I see 20-year-old kids that have fucking Lambos, and good for them, but I'm like, dude, what the fuck am I doing that I should have been doing, or what am I not doing that I should be doing to get that? And this is where, if I actually have a sit down conversation, especially like with myself or with anybody else around me, like, well, you are doing what you need to be doing. You just need to be smart with your moves and calculated with your moves. And then over time, you will get what it is that you want. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, in working with that level of, it's not like necessarily empathy. It's like working with the change in mind and change in perspective. Because that's why I think that I get so negative that it burns me out very quickly too. So I can study super hardcore, and then once I get done studying, or like say I study like really hard for like 2 or 3 days, and when I mean really hard, I mean like I'm writing notebooks, I'm doing flashcards, I'm writing in my notebook, I'm doing flashcards, I'm reading on whatever the textbook is, whatever the, for me it's like rotorcraft flight manual or something like that, and just learning the helicopters. And after like 3 days, I'm fucking toast. So then what I do is, since I'm toast with my brain on learning, then I'll go to the gym for like 3 days and just go insanely hard on the gym. And then once I get done with those 3 days, my body is now destroyed. So now I'm like, okay, what else can I do? And then it's like, okay, I've read enough, I've worked out enough. Now I need to do some like personal development, as in like, okay, what can I ask myself? What can I reflect on? What can I change for the better? Because change is good, right? So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. And that's my perspective. That's how I think about things. And then that's kind of like now how I'm trying to change it, right? What I will say is it seems very uncommon the way my brain works. Now, I'm not saying that I'm like, it's like some specialty that I have in my brain. I think if anything, it's hard for me to give myself credit because there's no such thing as enough in my brain. So whenever I have a conversation with somebody about how, like, if somebody asks me like, oh, hey, how do you do this? How can you help me with this? Or how can, sometimes I'll have friends say, hey, I want to work out. Can you teach me how to work out? I need to eat. What should I eat? And in my brain, the way that I work is I want you to call me a fat piece of shit, a lazy motherfucker, an idiot. It's the disbelief that makes me want to win or makes me want to achieve these things. So when people don't believe in me, it actually helps me a lot more because that's my drive. So whenever I talk to people and I say, hey, like, I don't know, like, do you really want me to tell you what the answer is? And they're like, yeah, I want to tell you the answer. And I'm like, well, maybe it's because you constantly eat out. You don't cook your own meals. And even the meals you do cook, are they healthy meals? Like cooking Hamburger Helper? Bro, not. We got to step up from that. I had fucking Hamburger Helper when I was a kid. I haven't had Hamburger Helper ever since. It's wild. Anyways, it even goes into like, what are the oils you're cooking with? What's the butter you're cooking with? What are the ingredients inside the food that you're eating? Are you eating grass-fed? Like, we don't consider that. So whenever we don't, as in, we weren't taught this in school, and nowadays, obesity is off the charts. I'm just going to fucking flat out say it. There's so many fucking fat people now, which do your fucking thing. Doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? So not saying shit. However, we also live in a society where I can't say something. I'm not allowed to because now I'm the bad guy if I just simply say the truth. We're not going to go down the rabbit hole of simply saying the truth because then off of fucking episode 3, I'm already canceled. Hey, I'm down to go down the rabbit hole though. However, what I'm saying is, now, if you are obese and you're fat, it's even harder. It's even harder to start to eat healthy. So my mind, going back to like the reason why we're going down this tangent, this rabbit hole, is my mind works in the way is call me fucking fat. Accept the reality that you're living in. And if you're fat, you're fucking fat. That's the only thing that would change my mind. That's how I work. If you called me fucking fat, and I didn't want to be called fat, I would go work out. If you called me lazy, if you said that I was going nowhere in life, all this shit, other than fat, I've never been fat in my life, but I was super skinny. I was the opposite. I have a fast metabolism. But everything when I was growing up was you can't do this. You're not going to achieve this. You're a piece of shit kid. You're a failure. You're all these things. And that's what drove me. So now, when I'm 27 years old, that's the natural talk that goes into my head when I can't do something. Oh, you're a fucking piece of shit. So I'm working on that because that's not a good way to live. I think there's moments where it's acceptable, and I also think there's moments when it's not acceptable. I think it's not acceptable when you think about a long term of life, because if you're constantly telling yourself you're not shit, you're not shit, you're not shit, you'll never be shit kind of thing in your head, then you have no self-esteem, no self-worth, no confidence. I lack confidence like crazy. Even doing something like this, like gym videos, all that stuff, I don't do it because I have confidence. I do it because I enjoy myself. I enjoy my time while doing this. It's not that I'm confident that I'm going to be this person that's going to have a successful podcast, or I'm going to be this successful gym influencer, or that I'm going to be a great person to change somebody's life. Like I honestly, I don't believe in myself more than I feel like some friends believe in me. And it's hard to accept that people believe in me because my entire life I've always said that I'm not good enough because that's what's been told to me in certain situations, certain environments that I've been in. So that's what pushes me to be better. So anyways, that's where I'm saying it's not a good thing over time, but on a short scale, immediate change can happen if you just tell yourself the truth. And if the truth is that you're not shit, which in reality, most of us are not shit. I think what defines if we are shit, it depends on the person to define it for themselves. So if somebody tells you you're not shit and you believe you're the shit, that's the best thing you could do. In my eyes, I am not shit because am I financially free? No. I have to work to maintain a desired lifestyle. I have to work to provide a desired lifestyle for my wife. I have to work to provide the ability for my kids when I have kids, for college, for vacation, for fun, for life experience, for education, for wisdom. Wisdom costs money, and not necessarily are you going to pay $20 to get wisdom. It's the more wisdom is knowledge through experience, right? So the more experience I can provide for my kids, and it takes money to provide for your kids. So it's not the money that makes you the shit. It's the ability that you have that makes you the shit in my mind, right? Me personally. However, off that. So that's how my mind works, is I would like to be told that you're not doing enough. You're not working hard enough. You're not doing what it takes to get to where you want to be. Even if I am. However, over time, it sucks because maybe I am doing what it takes, and I need to hear it as well that I am doing what it takes, right? So when people come and ask me, it's hard because that's my mindset. That's my perspective. That's the way that I view things. That's the way that I think. I think that I'm a fat piece of shit. I don't necessarily think I'm like actually obese, but I think that like I could have a six pack. I could have better looking legs. I could have better biceps. I could have better shoulders. I could have better chest. There's always more. And I think that's the difference between me and people that come in and ask me sometimes like, hey, like, how could I do this? It's just demand more of yourself and be truthful to yourself. That's it. If you allow yourself to be comfortable, you will always stay comfortable because comfortable feels nice. You have to get, this is the most annoying quote, I think, because it got overused. And I think it was Sam Solik that said something about like a cliche is annoying because a cliche is overly used truth, right? But you have to get uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. There you go. Sorry. So, for example, going to run 2 miles fucking sucks. Even for me. I fucking hate running 2 miles. I hate leg day. Actually, I hate and love leg day. The reason why is because it gets you uncomfortable the fastest. I operate in the uncomfortable world, and I enjoy that world. Now, it depends on what world we're talking about. For example, if I'm going to go fly in a helicopter and it's going to be a terrible weather and I'm by myself, terrible weather at night, and I'm uncomfortable, no, that's not a good situation to be in. If you are running on a perfectly good track with water, with a fucking a shade tree down the street, whatever the fuck it is, you are in good conditions. You're just going to put yourself in an uncomfortable environment. In that sense of like what I was talking about with the helicopter world, is like, I don't want to increase my chances of death. And if you're going to say going to run outside is going to increase your chance of death, well, breathing increases your chance of death. All right. Anyways, don't mean to get along on that tangent. So anyway, the whole point is you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And my uncomfortable, I enjoy the uncomfortable so much that leg day is my favorite day at the gym. Running, I enjoy running because they are the fastest to get you in that uncomfortable world. When you're doing legs and you get to that nauseous feeling, what you do next is what defines your character. That's what I think about in my life, in my character. What's crazy to me is that I think about it's crazy to me because this is what I think about when I'm hitting the gym, and I don't know if people do this or not. So comment and let me know if y'all do this while y'all are at the gym or whatever you're doing in life to work out. I get to that point to where I'm either nauseous or I'm about to throw up, or I'm like, okay, last rep. Then I think to myself, do I have one more rep? And if I say yes, I do one more rep. There was actually something that I was doing, something that I heard in my head that I was telling myself the other day, and I caught it again. And this might sound crazy. So I'm just telling y'all the way my mind works and the reason why I do the things I do, how I do them. I'm just giving y'all some insight on who I am. So I was actually hitting the Stairmaster, and I went for 30 minutes. So 10 minutes in, I'm like, fuck, this sucks. 15 minutes in, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to get off. And as I'm getting ready, as I'm like, all right, I'm ready to get off, I'm like, dude, just do 30 minutes. So at 20 minutes, I'm like, all right, dude, I'm fucking dying. I could just get off. This was a good day. I'm fucking toast. And then I'm like, all right, well then just keep going for 5 more minutes and see where we're at. At 5 more minutes, I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm ready to get off. And at that point, I caught myself allowing my mind to give up before my body gives up. So that's where this is where I say is the crazy part. In my mind, I automatically start saying, I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. Every fucking step I take, I say, I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. And I actually went for, I think, 32 or 33 minutes. And I could have gone longer if I were to just keep saying that. Because at that point, I'm overriding my mind telling me to stop. And I'm making my body go by forcing my mind to keep going. I'm not forcing my body to keep going. I'm forcing my mind to keep going. So if you're not eating right, if you're not going to the gym on time, if you're not studying where you should be studying, what are you telling yourself in those times to get yourself to get disciplined? Now, that's where I say podcasts can get annoying, because in that perspective, that's my way of doing things. I don't know what everybody's way of doing their own thing is. That's just my way. That's how I achieve these things. So that is something that I would say in my life, that's the good part. Even though it might sound extreme, maybe it's not even crazy. Maybe everybody does it. It's just, it sounds like when I have these conversations, people don't actually kind of do what I do. They don't talk to themselves the way I talk to myself, or they don't push themselves the way that I push myself. Now, they still push themselves. I'm not saying that people don't. I'm the only person that pushes myself. What I'm saying is that the way that I push myself is just different from everybody else. Except for it's funny. I love David Goggins, and whether you love him or hate him, I'm just telling you that I'm a huge David Goggins fan. But anyways, so I think that's a big solution to a lot of our problems is allowing yourself to be uncomfortable, enjoying the uncomfortability of change, because change is what is going to help you grow. Finding yourself in that position that's uncomfortable for the first fucking week. That's literally all it is. For the first week of inexperience, and then by the second week, just think about like the first time you started your job. That first week, it was very like, oh shit. And sometimes it's nerve-wracking, as in like you're uncomfortable and you might be excited about it, but it's not like the best feeling, because you're just like, oh my God, I'm so nervous, whatever it is. Right? I don't know if that's how you feel or not, but don't prevent yourself from that move. The biggest thing that I see change within myself, or I think one of the biggest steps and difference and change between myself and others or like the first step that it was when I went to the military. Now, it's not the military that changed me, even though I think that was a huge factor for my personal self. But when it comes to myself as in just a human being and making a change, was leaving my hometown, leaving my friends, leaving my family, leaving everything behind to go do something new, to change my world that I was in. And once you, and that process to get there, to do that, it was very nerve-wracking, especially when I was working at an RC hobby shop. My girlfriend was driving, my wife at the time, my wife that was my girlfriend at the time, was driving me to and from work every day. And I just was not happy with my life. So I go to the recruiter, and the drive to the recruiter is, I'm fucking anxious. I'm nervous. I'm like, holy shit, am I really going to do this? But at the same time, I also had this thought in the back of my head where it was like, I was convinced. I knew I had to do it. There was no, am I really going to do this? Oh shit, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Like, I knew I was going to go 100%. Like, there was no question about it, but there were still those butterflies after MEPS, after all the in processing, like when you're still a civilian side, that shit was all nerve wracking. And then I had to wait like 3 months. So for 3 months, I'm in this like anxious mode. I'm like, oh shit. I'm really about to leave. And during this time, this is where I feel that's where most people back out, is because all that anticipation, all that anxiety, all that change that you know is about to come, and you ran away from it. That change could have changed your life so dramatically that uncomfortable feeling is your own prevention from getting you to the next step. And I find myself doing this shit all the time. For example, I would love to start my own gym. I talk about so much shit that I would like to do or what I want to do. And do I do it? Now, I'll say starting a gym costs about $500,000. And that's like almost startup cost. That is literally startup cost, depending on the size and your equipment, things like that. So I don't have fucking $500,000, but could I find a way to make it happen? And maybe I could, but do I actually pursue it? And I'm telling you right now, I suffer from that. I suffer from all these things too. Everything that I'm talking to you about, I am no pro at it. I am no 100% expert at telling myself I'm such a bitch that I do everything. If anything, I tell myself I'm a bitch. And then I find myself like, oh, fuck, I guess really I am a bitch. And then I'm like, okay, I can't be a bitch, so let me do it. Right? So it's all about getting past that initial point of uncomfortability. That first week at your job, that initial move out of high school, that initial taking that uncomfortable step for that first month. And next thing you know, the ball just rolls. It's super. Think about where you're at in your life right now. When you got the job that you're doing right now, did you think, right? There was a video that I was watching, and it was saying something like along the lines of that first week to get that job. You're making phone calls. You were super excited about that job. You were studying, or you were trying to learn about this job. You had all your clothes folded the night before. You're trying to learn. I mean, like, kind of like goes in with studying, but you're trying to learn the ins and the outs before you even get there. You get there 15 minutes early. And I'll tell you this. If you didn't do that with your job, you're probably at the wrong job. We'll elaborate that in a little bit. Maybe another time, whatever. But that's what I did. That's what I did on every one of my jobs that I've had, except for maybe one or two because I didn't love the job. I was always getting ready for work, trying to anticipate what I'm doing for tomorrow, getting up early, showing up early on time, getting my hair cut, doing all this shit, trying to be professional until after 2 months. A month, maybe not even a month, maybe 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you're like, okay, like I'm comfortable now. And that right there is what stops you from growing. How many opportunities have you given up because you are comfortable with where you're at? Now let me phrase that. Let me put that in perspective. And let me add some insight to it too. If your employer comes up and asks you, hey, I want you to add this to your plate. Or hey, this is your role, this is your position. And 1 week over here, I just want you to add about this much to your plate for 1 week. Oh no, I can't do that. Like, are you gonna pay me more? I can't do that. I gotta go home. I gotta do my own things. Like, and you know what? You might be right. You might have kids to go home to, right? You might have dogs to go home to. You might have plans after work to go do. But that little bit right there could have extended your worth to that company. Or that little bit of work right there could have given you the extra skill or the extra development or extra experience to get to the next step, instead of being comfortable and just staying where it is that you're at. I'll give you an example, my personal example, because even that probably might not make too much sense, but to give you my example. So I'm working at a flight instruction school in Dallas. And what we do is primarily train people how to fly. Then on the weekends, you can go do commercial jobs. So on the weekends, I can go do tour flights. We do it's called fly-ins, which are super fucking fun. You go in, you fly, or you come in, you fly in, you land, you pick up passengers, you do like a couple loops, and then you go down. And when I mean loops, like you're doing patterns. You're not doing like fucking rolls or anything like that. You're like barrel rolls, no crazy shit. You're just doing some little loops. You go back, you land, unload, load in the next passenger, and you do some loops. You come back in, land, unload, load in some new passengers. And you do that for like fucking 3 hours. You do that. I do some like photography flights, flown around downtown Dallas. I don't like all these other little things, right? So much that now those compound into like, this guy really wants it. This guy is taking all the opportunities he can. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I've taken 100% of every flight that I possibly could take. There's been days where I had to take off, or I had days that I was like, dude, I'm fucking burnt out. I've flown 14 days straight. Like, I'm good. Let me get a fucking weekend. You know what I mean? Like, there are those days. It's not common because I would rather take that little bit. Because that little bit compounds, and it keeps increasing and increasing. All the way until I get a text one night on a Saturday asking if I could leave Sunday to go fly and help train the Army guys on a Monday. And that's a huge, huge step in my career, right? Like for me, my personal career. And I believe, I could be wrong. It could just happen because it happens. If I weren't to be the person to consistently say yes, 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 I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, take on more responsibility, would they call me if I were to always say no responsibility? No, I don't want responsibility. No, I don't want responsibility. Oh, now this is something that I actually kind of want to do. This would be actually really fun. Can I take that responsibility? Like, no, like you're not the guy that takes the responsibility. You're the guy that only wants to take what you want to take when you want to take it, because then you'll be comfortable. Kind of thing. That's where I'm getting at with that. So I don't know. That's my like long tangent of get comfortable, being uncomfortable, and ask more from yourself. If you ask more from yourself, you'll get more from yourself. Super simple, right? If you want to be smarter, what is it that you want to study to become smarter in? Is it economics? Is it history? Is it finance? What books are you reading to learn these things? It just because you want it doesn't mean it's going to happen. You have to have the discipline, the effort, the consistency, the ability to sacrifice those weekend plans consistently. Now, yes, take your time. I agree. If you just consistently burn out, it's not going to be fun and you're not going to enjoy it. Now, I want to say that as well, though, along those lines is this is, so what I was going to say is I feel, my opinion, I could be wrong, and this is my perspective. So the lens that I'm looking out of, and I could have a biased lens, I feel that I see a lot more people that are not willing or wanting to put in the work that it takes to do what it is they want to do. So there's a reason why, or they blame something for why they can't do it. So in my opinion, right, because I want to reiterate, this is all my opinions and these are all my perspectives. I don't want to generalize, and I don't want to talk about who you are as a person, because you could be completely different, and the other person that's watching this could be completely different. But what my point to that is, it's not going to happen immediately. It's not going to happen after the first day of putting in the work. That one page, or the first time you sat down and read 30 minutes, that's not long enough to read that book. This is what I struggle with this because I'm a helicopter instructor. And so you basically fly up to 1,000 hours. And then after 1,000 hours, you typically go get another job for about 500 hours to get turbine time, because I'm not flying turbines. I'm flying typically piston engines. And anyways, like this is like my whole world that I'm in, is it's all about flight time. And then what kind of flight time are you getting, right? And I need to continue to develop my patience to say, hey, I'm going to get my time. I just have to be consistent with putting in time. And when it's my time, I'll be able to do what it is that I want to do. So for you, it's not the first book that you read. It's not the second book you read. It's not the first month of work. It's not the second month of work. It's not the first year. It's not the third year. It's not the fifth year, right? It's going to take a lot more time to achieve what it is that you want to achieve, especially if you're consistently wanting to achieve more, aka me. But let's take it back to, do you want to achieve a healthy and physical, like a healthy, like internally healthy and then physically healthy, right? If you are already starting out fat, that just takes time. You can nowadays take a pill to get rid of it, but that is such a weak mindset that you will, my opinion is that you won't permanently lose it. You'll lose it for a moment. And then that moment that you give up, the moment that it gets hard, something in life outside of eating, right? Outside of your diet, your discipline, your nutrition, say something in your life dramatic happens and something changes. You're going to give up because you didn't have your own discipline to actually go work out, to actually eat right for an extended amount of time, because then no matter what happens, you know how hard it took for you to get to that point, that even in a hard situation, you're not going to give up on this discipline. And that's what's crazy about working out in my opinion. I mean, I think anything that you do in life that requires a strong discipline to do something, you have so much more worth to what it is that you just did, that you're willing to protect that work that you put in. Or, right. So say you did, after 2 years, it took you 2 years to lose these 50 pounds that you were trying to lose. That feeling and that emotion and that exhaustion and discipline and effort that you just put in to lose those 50 pounds, you have now created your own level of handling stress, because it's the stress of not eating, or the stress of eating the right way, or the stress of not eating the bad foods that you want to eat. So you're now forcing yourself to not do something, right? So now you can force yourself in a time that's hard to, again, not do something, because you value the work that you've just put in over 2 years. And if you just take a pill and you take it for 6 months, by the time you lose that weight, it's something dramatic happens. You stop taking that pill, or you keep taking that pill and you're just eating and eating and eating now, just more, because you know the pill will help you out. Like, it's just an excuse, right? So anyways, that's my rant for today. I wanted to keep this one short because I want to test the waters. I want to see what people have to say. I would like to hear comments. I would like to see some feedback. I appreciate everybody saying, keep it up, good work. They like the videos. I like the likes. Thank you so much for all the support. This is something that I don't know necessarily why, right? Why me? Why am I doing this? And I don't know. I don't know why. It's just something I enjoy. This conversation right here is something I enjoy. I hope, as well as I hope that you guys, or somebody, one person alone, is enough for me to be like, dang, I'm glad I made this video because it helped them. And maybe in 5-10 years, I need this video for myself. I want to let you know, this is something that I think we need in society, is more people to be able to talk with each other deeper and be able to be like, hey, I see you're struggling right here in life. I don't want to bully you and say you're fat, but hey, you're overweight, and I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but your chances of dying before me are incredibly high. And actually the lifespan that you're going to live is way less. And I'm 27. So if you're my friend and you're 27 and you're going to die at 45, that's in less than 20 years. Or you could simply just clean your diet up right now. And then maybe, right? Because I also think that it's not just diet that people lack. It's okay, well, what's behind the diet? Do you have an issue going on at home that you'd like to talk about? And I just think that right now, it's not about therapy with a doctor. It's having good friends to have good conversations about shit like this. And then depending on your circle and your group, I could literally tell you to quit being a bitch and be dead on serious as you're trying to vent to me about why your stomach hurts, right? And there's no sympathy. Or you could also come to me and be like, hey, this just happened in my life, and this is a very serious situation, and I'm not feeling the best right now. And I'm okay, all jokes aside, let's have this conversation. And not oh, fuck, we have to have this conversation. It's bro, I'm here for you. And that's what not in society necessarily or in my circle necessarily, is just like if you see the mental health, the decision making of our country from the outside looking in, and a generalization, there's just so many issues. So many, and what issues that I'm talking about is all of them. Think logically for a second, right? And what is an issue that you see within our country today? And one, you can comment on it, and I'd love to talk about it. Or two, wouldn't you agree? Because I think this way. If you had somebody to talk to about an issue that's going on, not only would it calm you down because maybe you're frustrated, maybe you're sad, maybe you're upset, whatever it is, you go talk to somebody, they can literally just give you some feedback. Now, be aware of who you're talking to. You don't want to find yourself in a position where you're making the conversation fucking worse because somebody disagrees with what you have to say. And I also think that that's a big problem we have right there too, is talking to people that only agree with what you have to say. We have a huge problem with not having the ability to listen to the other side. I have a great point. If you can't ask a question about something, if I couldn't ask you a question right now that society has deemed that I can't ask you without me looking crazy, maybe that's the question we should be asking. Maybe the questions and the conversations we should be having are the ones that we logically think about, but we know we can't talk about. And if, in my opinion, that's where a lot of solving problems can come into play. Now it's all, I fucking hate this. It's left did this and right did this. 4 years ago, the right was saying, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. And now the left is saying, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. And it doesn't matter what side you're on. It's fucking happening. If you don't like Donald Trump and you're saying, I told you so, well, I promise you for the last 4 years, the people that like Donald Trump were saying, I told you so for the last 4 years. And now it's your time to say, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. We are literally doing exactly what the people in positions of power want us to do. To constantly, every year, go back and say, your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault. Instead of looking inwards and saying, hey, I was wrong this year, you were wrong this year. But not pointing the finger, I was wrong this year, this person says they were wrong that year. What is it that we should analyze between what happened this year and what happened last year? And how could we fix that? But the issue that I see is having a conversation like that is almost impossible because both sides are so defensive and both sides have to be right. I don't know. Maybe I don't mind being wrong, and I also don't mind confrontation, and I also don't mind learning something new. And that's one of the biggest issues I see in our society. Not everybody can be wrong. Not everybody wants to learn. I'll say this. One of my biggest pet peeves as an adult male now is watching sports. My opinion, everybody has their thing that they want to do. But that is literally the fall of the Roman Empire, you fucking morons. All right, I'm just kidding. Not that hard. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how my brain works. But anyways. So, all right, that's the end of my rant. I don't mean to call you fucking morons. Hope I didn't offend you. If I did, I'll kiss you. All right. Well, good podcast. Let me know what y'all think. Dude, I'm open to suggestions on conversations. I'm open to invites. Invite me if you want to hop on the podcast. I got a couple people in line still trying to work these mics out. I think the audio last podcast still wasn't the best. It was a little bit better. So we're going to see how this goes. It looks super fucking loud, so I hope it's not too loud. We'll see. However, thanks for watching. Till next time.